Welcome everybody to another great episode of Brutally Honest. I am your host Stitches MBC, and today we are going to talk about addiction. And I know y'all read the caption too, how I'm talking about weed is the ambition killer. Now listen, there's nothing against weed. I'm not knocking on anything like that. Everybody is different, right? But in most cases, weed is an ambition killer. Not just weed. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about addiction. Anything can be an addiction. You feel me? Now, the thing about that is that a lot of times we get confused about what's an addiction or is it just a bad habit? You know, a lot of times we don't even know. A lot of times we're not even aware of it. So how can you fix something if you're not even aware of it? You know? And a lot of times us as friends, we try to be friends. We try to be cool with those that we know that are suffering from addiction. But you don't know how drastic and how serious the issue of addiction is before you walk into your house and you're trying to wake up a relative because they knocked out, because they strung out, because they high and they're unconscious. You don't know the seriousness about addiction until you deal with it, or until one of your close ones and your loved ones and your family or friends are actually going through it. And the thing about that is that when we our perception of addicts is completely different. It has to be completely changed. You know, we grew up in, it's the United States, even Great Britain has gone through 104 years with this war on drugs. Y'all remember in the 90s, the AWARE programs and things like that, right? Are things getting better? Of course not. How can things get better? Well, Portugal is actually doing something about it. And we're going to talk about that. Now, me personally, I actually went through my whole life, probably like 20 years, feeling like I'm addicted to something. I'm addicted to something. And when I realized it, I'm like, man, I need somebody to talk to about this. The issue we have now is that we feel like, because you got a certain amount of followers on Instagram or Facebook, people hitting you up on messages, we feel like that's cool. Like we feel like we have those connections, but we really don't. Who's going to be there for you in the time of crisis? The people who are actually physically there for you. Your friends, your loved ones, your family. And like I said last week, blood only makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. So I'm thinking about this, right? So I'm going to have this show and I'm talking about addiction and I'm going to put myself out there and I'm like, man, I need to call somebody, but not just anybody. I got to call somebody that I can trust. I got to call somebody that I'm not going to have a fear of being judged, right? Because I feel like that's the hardest thing for us to actually open up to people, is actually have that courage within us and actually open up about our own issues. And if we are going to do that, you need to be very selective as far as who are you giving this information out to. Because obviously you're trying to talk about it because you want to do something about it. You don't want to talk about it and now all of a sudden it's getting worse. You don't want to talk about it to somebody that's going to put you down. You don't want to talk to somebody that's going to call you, oh, you're an addict, you just got to stop that and things like that. No, if you're going to reach out to somebody, I'm talking about everybody, you need to be very selective and you got to choose those who's really going to actually hear you and actually try to understand you and actually try to help you out. So today, ironically, I actually ended up calling my cousin. Y'all probably remember him when we did a mastermind episode earlier this year. So I called him up and I'm like, yo, Rafe, I got to talk to you. And he's like, yo, Stitch, was good? I'm like, yeah, everything's all right, man, but I got to talk to you. He's like, so what's up? I'm like, nah, man, I got to talk to you face to face. And he's like, it's serious, huh? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's serious, man. Just passed through tonight. And he's like, you got your show tonight. Now I'm like, I'm glad you know, right? I know too. Thanks for the reminder. You feel me? But I'm just saying, like, can you just pass through? And Rafi, thank you for passing through, Because this is what we're talking about, man. Like,
I underestimated the traffic.
Well, you're here, though. I had a busy day, too. So let me give a quick shout out. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yo, happy birthday to my son, turning 8 today. And happy birthday to my daughter that's turning 14 on Saturday. I love you guys all. Daddy loves you. Much hugs and kisses to you guys.
That's right. Today's my birthday.
Yeah, man. Your daughter's birthday's coming up, or did it just pass?
No, it's coming up.
But we're celebrating it this Saturday.
Today.
Today. Okay. Well, you already know. Now, but like we're talking about, now I want to talk to you about what it is that I felt, And this is actually how I felt before I did all the research as far as what an addiction and a bad habit is. What do you think an addiction is? What do you guys think an addiction is? Addiction. We've all heard of addiction, right? Addicts. What do you think an addiction is?
Something you do over and over and over again. It could be anything, like you said in the introduction.
All right, cool. So then, what's the difference between an addiction and a bad habit?
What's the difference?
Yeah. You feel me? Because if you're saying you're doing it over and over again, that's like a habit. So what's the difference? I'm talking to everybody here. What's the difference between addiction and a bad habit?
That's a good question.
It is a great question.
That's a great question.
And that's the first thing we need to do. Like, listen, I'm a firm believer, I believe you are too, of the law of attraction.
For sure.
If you want something, just ask for it.
Yes.
But you have to be, strong-minded and truthful with yourself as far as the questions that you're asking, because you're going to receive those answers. And if you're messing up, if you're not on the track, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you might not even like those answers that you're going to get. You feel me? Maybe you're a malicious person or you have a lot of ego. And when you come up with these answers, you like to be egotistical. So you're going to get hurt by these answers. But like I said, that's a very, very good question. So I was doing some research, and according to Dr. Phil, an addiction is an irresistible urge, right? An irresistible impulse.
Yeah.
A bad habit is just an impulse not being resisted. So I'll check it like that. Like I was going to talk about my own personal experience. Me, I've been smoking weed for almost 2 decades now. And the funny thing about that is, like, you know that, right? Like we cool and whatever, but you also know that I've never, ever put it out there in any of my social media. I feel like it's because my family, so I'm very respectful of my family. You know how the family is and things like that. So I've always kept it out of people's way and things like that. So it was because of that, but I always feel like, man, and it's funny because when I used to talk to certain people, be like, yo, I feel like I'm addicted to weed. And they'd be like, and they start laughing at me. They start cracking at me like, weed is not an addictive. Like, it doesn't have no addictive chemicals in it. Okay, right? So I still feel addicted to it. I feel like but it wasn't that. It was
is that a fact that THC is not an addictive?
That's what they say. Like they say something contrary to nicotine, like cigarettes. Okay, nicotine is a kind of addictive chemical.
Does alcohol have an addictive chemical?
I don't believe in that. As far as the addictive chemical, and this is what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna really bring it down as far as the new evidence of what addiction and how we should really be targeting and talking to these addicts. So that's the difference between an addiction and a bad habit. Now, it's funny because, I started smoking weed when I was a teen. And why did I start smoking weed, right? Why did I do it? I was good in school. I already had kind of friends and things like that. So it was just something more to just be into the in crowd. I'm telling you as far as what I thought.
From East New York, Brooklyn.
Well, it's everywhere. But this is what we're talking about. So it's like, all this time I'm going through this and I'm feeling like it's just an addiction and I can't let it go. And it's like, but I've quit before, But we're not talking about me. We're talking about everybody and anything. So it's like you mentioned alcohol. We're mentioning cigarettes. I mentioned weed. But the reality is anything and everything can be an addiction. You feel me? It doesn't have to be just drugs. We all know what drugs is. Drugs is a chemical substance that affects your body physically and psychologically. That's what a drug is, right? But anything can be a drug as well. You can be addicted to anything. You could be addicted to women. You could be addicted to sex. You could be addicted to money. You could be addicted to hitting the gym. You could be addicted to porn. You could be addicted to bad eating habits. You could be addicted to a lot of different things, So throughout this episode, I'm going to try to generalize it because there is a lot of people that are suffering. And what's sad about that is that they don't know. What's more sad about that is that we don't even know that they have the problem. You feel me? Like, I want to be cool. Okay, so you got an issue or whatever. You got an example. You got an eating disorder. Cool. You just like to eat. You like to eat. I know you're slim, right? So it's a bad example, but I'm just saying for the video purposes, right?
I just shit it out.
Fast metabolism. Alright, so you feel me? So it's like, so I see you going through this and you got a bad eating disorder, but we're cool. I just want to be your friends and things like that, right? So it's like, I know you're going through a hard time. You feel me? So I'll be like, nah, man, you had a rough day. You had a rough week. Eat those 2 Big Macs. You be alright. You be alright. Don't worry about it. It's all good and it's all good. And it's like, we're giving them a pass. We're giving them a green light. It's like we don't even know how.
We have to show tough love.
We don't know how bad it is, bro. how we need to show tough love. But that's our perception. That used to be our perception growing up as far as how we treat addicts. Now, there's shows out there, there's reality shows as far as an intervention, right? Okay, so there's somebody that's an addict and he's going through these issues and things like that, right? All right, cool. But the thing about that is like with an intervention, they bring his family, they bring his friends, they bring his loved ones close to him, and they threaten their friendship or their relationship and use that and hold that as collateral for him or her to get better. So it'd be like, if you don't get on your feet, if you don't stop using, if you don't stop doing or start doing what you're supposed to be doing, I'm gonna cut you off from my life. And that's completely wrong. That's completely wrong. And this is why. Now, what would you say if you were to take heroin for 7 days straight? What do you think would happen to you?
Me personally?
Yeah. What would you think would happen to you if you were to take heroin for 7 days?
First of all, my mindset when it comes to drugs is I would never try drugs because I'm totally fucking afraid of them. Because I don't know how my body will react. It's crazy. So I think the first time I try heroin, I am out of here.
The first time. But do you think that you will be addicted to it?
No.
You don't think you will be addicted to it even if
I don't know. It's weird.
Even if you do take it for 7 days?
Okay.
But that's the concept. So it's like they used to do a testing, right, in the labs and things like that. So they would put a rat. They would take a rat and they would put the rat in a cage, right? So they would put it in the cage and they would put 2 water bottles there. One is laced with heroin and one is just regular water. Now they would observe the rat. Now what would happen with the rat? 100% of the times the rat would overdose, right? So the rat will always choose the laced water over the regular water, right? So, and they did these studies early in the early 20th century, right? So we've took that evidence and we took it and we applied it. Oh, it's addictive chemical. So now there was another doctor, right? Bruce Alexander, Professor Bruce Alexander from Vancouver. He was like, wait a minute. And he started observing this test and he's like, the rat has nothing else to do but drink these waters in the cage. What if, and he actually created a rat park. It's like a heaven for rats, right? So it's like they got colored balls, they got, the treadmill, they got friends, which is crucial. They got friends so they can, socialize, have sex, and whatever it is, right? Now, when they and they still only gave them 2 bottles of waters, one that's laced and one that's regular water.
Same option.
0% of overdose. 0% of overdose. So guess what? This is what I want to blow people's minds off. This is what I want to blow them off. It's not the drug. It's the cage. Let's use that analogy with our lives. If I'm saying it's the cage, it's our environment. It's our surrounding. It's not the drugs that's addicted. I mean, if I were to walk outside to the street right now and got hit by a car and I break my hip, now I won't be on dopamine, right? For at least maybe 2 weeks in the hospital, right? They're gonna painkillers and things like that. I'm gonna be on that, right? Now, I don't know if you know this, but that's heroin. That's actually, a lot more powerful heroin because it's from the medical. It's not, like breaking down like you're getting in the street. Now, if my grandmother is in the hospital, did she come out as a junkie? No. But she was taking the drug for so long. So what is it? It's the connection. A lot of times we need to change the word of addiction. It's not just addiction. It's more of bonding. Understand what I'm saying? So it's like when we're not feeling good about ourselves, when we're disconnected from everybody, we use anything because naturally as humans, we naturally like to bond with others. We're natural social creatures. That's a fact. That's how we are. But we like to bond with something, whatever that something is. And this is why we're talking about addiction and drugs and things like that. Whatever that is, that's what we like to bond with. And that's crazy. So it's like, so if we know that it's the connection, why would we use a disconnection to solve that issue? What happened in Portugal? Now in the year 2000, over 1% of the whole population was heroin addicts. That's a big number, right? So they was trying to find out what can they do. So they implied the laws that us in America asked, and they will criminalize, for drugs and things like that. They will criminalize, they'll lock them up, and they will separate them from society at all. Now they get out. Now they have a felon. Now they can't even get a job. And what happens? They go right back into the drugs that they was using, maybe even a stronger drug because of their tolerance went up. So this is what Portugal did as far as the prime minister. He was like, no, we are going to decriminalize. They actually did this. They decriminalized every drug from crack to heroin. And they did a study. And what they did as far as the money that they was using to, lock them up and things like that, they used that money to create programs for these addicts. And they created a program as far as, let's say you're a mechanic, right? So after you're good, after you went through the rehab and things, after you're good, the government, let's say you're a mechanic. So the government would go to the employer. They would be like, if you hire this guy, we will pay half of his wages for a year.
Wow.
You understand? The results are in. Over 50% of improvements. And you know how you know that the system is working? Because nobody wants to go back or revert back to the old ways.
Naturally, they want to do better.
Naturally. So what I'm saying is, like, how do we deal with addicts? And I know that's why I'm not knocking you, because I used to think the same way. Like, oh, you an addict, or we look at addicts like, no, get them out. I don't want to deal with them. Oh, es un pecado, right? Like, we don't want them and whatever. Get them out. We don't even want them in the family. That's not my brother. That's not my sister. We're talking like, no. Ese tipo de la calle. We don't want it. We don't want that around here, right? All right, cool. And then what happens? They fall right back into it. This is how we're supposed to be dealing with these addicts. So it goes like this. And it's not, I'm not saying this like this is easy. I've been trying to, but it's not easy. The main thing we need is patience, because you're going to need a lot of patience for that. You would tell them that you love them. You would tell them that you're there for them. You would tell them that if you ever need them, you'll come through and you sit down with them to hear them talk it out. You don't push them away. That's how you deal with these addicts. That's how you deal with these addicts. I'm not talking about solving the issue. No, they have to solve the issue. Now, how do they solve that issue? First step, awareness. Right?
So,
gotta be aware. Second step, accountability and responsibility. That's the second step. You have to be responsible for what it is that you need to do. You need to be responsible for that. So it's like, so if we're saying that the solution is just the connections, but how do you keep solving this problem? It has to be in increments. It has to be in increments. For an example, let's say I smoke weed. I smoke 4 blunts a night. And I'm talking to you, right? And I'm like, yeah, man, but I really want to quit. And I don't think I can. You're not going to be cynical and put me down. Just quit and just let it go. No. This is how you do it, right? It goes like this. How many do you smoke a night? 4. And you want to quit completely, or what is it that you really want to do, right? Or I want to quit completely, or at least just bring it down to 1. Damn, do you think that you can do that? No, I don't think I can do that. I've been trying to do this and all this and whatever. So whatever it is, it's an impulse being resisted or whatever it is, whether it's a bad habit and addiction, this applies for all of that. So no, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. All right, cool. So this is what I want you to do, and you let me know if you can do this. Can you track how much you smoke every night? Every night? I don't know, right? Because you're making it hard on yourself. I was like, okay, you can't do it every night. Can you do it maybe 4 times throughout that week? Yeah, I think I can do that, because that's what you want. You don't want them to resist it. You want them to actually want them. You want them to actually believe that they can do it. So you'd be like, that, I didn't just track it up. And now we're using an example as far as just weed, right? But we're talking about everything. We're talking about...
It's kind of like selling, too.
Everything.
Selling,
everything, bro. So it's like this. All right, so cool. Just track it down. So the week passes by. I tracked it down. And I go back. And I'm like, it turns out I actually smoke 5. It turns out I actually smoke 5 blunts a night. oh, wow, okay, cool. Again, but that's the reaction. It's, okay, cool. I'm glad. It's not something like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. No, that's you're discouraging. You're discouraging. Yeah, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. No, it goes more like this. Okay, cool. At least now you know where you're starting from. At least now you know where you're starting from. And it has to be, the point about this is that the solution has to be in increments. It has to be in ching, slowly and slowly. Now, if you bring it down to, oh, now it's 5. Oh, can you bring it down to 4? Oh, every day? No. Maybe one of those days out the week, can you bring it down to 4? Yeah, I think I could. Okay, cool. That's what you want from them. That's what you want, a start. Now, if you're going through this and you're going through that, and how are you going to be 5 years repeating this? You're probably not going to even smoke anymore. You're definitely going to reach your goal. So what I'm doing is, it's like, this is what happens. You are encouraging confidence, and you are also giving them a hopeful future by doing this like that, you know? Now, the thing about, you know, like we're talking about drugs and things like that, but what's really bad about that? You know, I believe that, you know, life is balanced. You see yin-yangs everywhere, right? Everything is balanced, right? I really do believe that everything in life has to be in moderation. I don't like weed. I don't think weed is bad. That's like when people say money is the root of all evil. No, money is not the root of all evil. People are. Money only gives you power to enhance the person that you already are. That's the only thing money does, bro. So if you're a good person, if you're a good-hearted person and you like to give, now you got an abundance of money, why are you gonna change? You're gonna want to give more
to the highest power. And if you're a bad person and you get money, you're gonna do the same thing.
And this is what I mean. So if that's the analogy I'm saying, so it's like, it's not the drug that's bad, it's the person. A lot of us have addictive personalities, you know, but why is it? So it's like I said, it's because of the lack of connections that we have. You know, it's funny and it's weird that you could be around 100 people and still feel alone.
Wow.
Right? And it's like, and those 100 people won't even know that you're feeling alone because you don't even want to open up. Maybe you don't even know that you're feeling alone. But every night you're on the crack pipe. Every night you're injecting needles. Every night, especially the kids nowadays, man, they just want to pop their pill away. And you know, they feel like it's cool because they're young and they got their whole lives ahead of them, and you know, and things like that. But you're gonna kill your own ambition. You're going to lose your focus. Your priorities are going to change. Instead of you wanting to go home after school and work on yourself, go out, work out, hit the gym, go play ball, do something, interact, or build with your family, whatever it is. No. Now you just want to smoke and stay in your room. Now you just want to pop some pills, put it in a Sprite or whatever, and now you're leaning all day. You don't even know who you are. You look in the mirror and it's a blurry vision. Your whole family around there is like, and who is that? And that's real life. And it's like, we try to treat people, and then, especially when they're teenagers, you know about the rebellious stage, which is the reason why I got, you know, earrings and tattoos everywhere, because I was a rebel. Why? Because I wasn't able to have it. My mom's is. Yeah. So what happens? I did it anyway, just to be a rebel. So if you're telling these kids, don't do drugs, don't pop those pills, that's whack, and all this, first of all, they're going to look like you're old school, like you don't know what you're talking about. And number two, they're going to want to do it anyway because you're telling them not to do it. This is why when I talk to people, bro, I always try to make myself relatable. I always try to make them know that I understand where they're coming from. No matter what it is that they're going through, no matter what it is. And I also don't try to diminish the sensitivity of the situation. For example, if they're going through a domestic issue, I don't want to let them know, oh, you're not the only one. I don't want to let them know, oh, you'll get over it. That's like very, very being insensitive. No, I will let them know, like, wow, that's messed up. I can't understand exactly what you're coming from. If it's a female and you're not like, you know, my sister went through the same thing. You know, you try to make yourself relatable. And then the way you talk to people is like, yeah, you know, if I was you, I would do this and I would do that and see how well that works. You know, I'm always here for you. If you ever need somebody to call, is there anything that I can do to help you out? Things like that. You don't have to be cynical and you don't have to be putting people down and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Now,
sure.
That's the solution that we got. How's the comments doing, man? You got anything to say real quick?
That bad habit, man. Bad habit is a tricky one because it's just, it is kind of addictive. You gotta, like, my bad habit is procrastination.
Okay, procrastination.
Procrastination, and I'm just, sometimes I love it. In today's situation, I didn't. I underestimated the traffic. I was lame. I didn't put my shoes on. I was procrastinating.
Why is it so hard for you to try to set your watch 10 minutes early?
That's not hard,
right?
Yeah,
can you do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
Good. That's what I want. You to tell me you can't do it.
Yeah, I could do that, but then something else takes hold.
Isn't that crazy?
Because you know that the watch is 10 minutes.
Sometimes you forget though.
No,
sometimes,
you're right.
Sometimes you forget.
You're right.
Oh, and you be like, then you look at your phone like, I'm early. Now you want to stop at a gas station and get going. Like,
and then you're late.
And then you're late. You know, that's what I'm talking about, man. How does everybody think about this? Exactly what is it that we're talking about today, man? Trying to put these comments on so I can actually respond to them, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. Now, isn't it weird that I'm saying that now the drug issue is worse now? But wouldn't you say that as a society, we're more connected now than we used to be?
For sure.
For sure, right?
I mean, just
because of the internet and all this, right? All right, cool. So when you're in a time of crisis, it won't be your Twitter followers coming to you and sitting down to talk to you, right?
No,
exactly, and that's the reason why we've traded what is this on social media for our actual friends that are actually there. We have social media, and just because we're cool and boys, and now you don't like, comment, or share any of my stuff, now I'm taking that person. Now we're not cool. Now I want to be cool with this person because they're always sharing my stuff. Now I traded the authentic, the genuine connection for something that's artificial. The same thing with drugs. So what happens with that? You fill the void of the time that you was doing when you was using these drugs. You fill that void with the connections that you want to be present for. Pretty simple. Man, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, man.
Yo, this place looks amazing too, bro.
Next week, I'm actually going to be off. I'm actually going to take off next week. I got some personal things I want to take care of. And that's what we're going to do. But after that, we're going to talk about a lot more stuff. I'm going to let you guys know exactly what's going on. And we're going to take it from there. Now, press 1 if you're watching live. Press 2 if this is a replay. Press 3 if you shared live to be eligible to win a free Brutally Honest t-shirt. Next month, I'm going to be having a $50 gift card, Visa gift card giveaway for anybody that shares the most to the groups while I'm live. It has to be a minimum of 10 groups. And you will be eligible to win that $50 gift card. Straight up.
That one is pretty fun. I like that one.
Let's see. Probably after the first or second time. Striving for progress and not perfection. I like that because a lot of times we try to get something perfect and then it never gets done. You know, a lot of times we wanna have something perfect and then we procrastinate or we take too much time on it that we miss the deadline. Sometimes it's good to just get it done.
For sure.
And this is what I mean by that. Like, this is what I mean about perfection. I'll use myself as an example. Before I started doing the show, before I started doing live, before I started, period, 5 years ago, I was scared. Let's just say it like that. Maybe I wasn't even mentally ready. I was scared because this was my actual phone. I know, like I said, 5 years. This was actually my phone.
No.
And I would be like, right, look, it's all cracked and everything. And I used to be like, I don't want to record myself using an Android, right? I don't want to record myself with bad quality. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. No, I want to get it perfect. I want to do this. I want to do that. How much years did I waste not doing it?
That's a great example, bro.
Then at the end of the day, what happened? I did it anyway with the phone I didn't even want to use. Why? Because of the urge of what it is that I wanted to do was eating me up inside. Like, man, I have something I want to say. I want to put it out there. I want to put it out there. Just put it out there. Who's stopping you? Oh, yeah, your subconscious. Who else? That's it. Ain't nobody else. We are our worst enemies. Period. You know, and that's why, you know, me and my brother Ray, we was talking about this morning. And he was like, yeah, I can't believe how people are, they let them, some are masochists, masoquita. They let them talk to them however they want to talk to them. They could talk to them like crap and they're okay with it. And that's what I was talking to Ray. I was like, you know why? Because they can take all that negativity, because they're giving themselves a lot more. Okay, so they calling me dumb, but I call myself stupid. So whatever you did, whatever you're saying doesn't affect me, because I talk to myself worse than that.
Wow.
So those people that you can't talk to me a certain way, those are the people that have respect for themselves. I don't talk to myself like that. I don't call myself dumb. I don't even like the word stupid. And I take that word from my son's vocabulary. I don't like that word at all. Maybe something in my childhood. I really don't remember. But I really don't like that word. But I don't treat myself like that. So I'm not going to allow somebody else to treat myself like that too, because you need to know your self-worth. You need to know you need to have self-love for yourself. Hello, guys. Hello.
That me versus me, man. You got to beat yourself up every day.
Yeah. KZ, big girl, that ain't true. I smoke and I'm good to go. I'm not lazy or nothing after I smoke. Well, more power to you. You feel me? Then this message is not for you. Straight up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. But I'm in this here because I'm here. My purpose in life is to be of service to others. Now, like how I said in the beginning, maybe you didn't catch it, and that's fine, right? But everybody is different, Okay, we was talking about weed, right? All right, cool, but whatever. We're talking about everything. It's not just weed. That was just an example. I'm talking about drugs, as far as some people have an addictive personality. Other people have more willpower, have more control of themselves and their lives. Other people know how to control it. You feel me? Because I feel like if it doesn't control your life, then it's not an issue. I'm talking about to those that have that irresistible urge. I'm talking about those that are addicted to it. I'm talking about those that feel like they can't go through a day without smoking, without popping a pill. Those are the people that I'm talking to. Now, I understand that you say, okay, you smoke every day and it's not a problem for you. That's great. But please, open your mind and be understanding to others that have that issue. Don't let them know. Don't let them know that it's not a big deal, that they good. Because you don't really know that. They might be going through a downward spiral and their life is crashing down. And here you are passing them a blunt. You be good. Not knowing that that's the issue for them. Oh, man. Thank y'all all for tuning in. I love you guys all. I will be back in 2 weeks. Thank you, Mando, for coming through. I definitely appreciate you being a friend. Things like that. That shirt really looks good. Thank you. The last time you was here, it didn't look like this.
I'm in shock. I'm in shock, bro. Congratulations.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate it, man. So let's go like this. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is actually connections. Instead of us having and putting this war on addicts, instead of them, hate letters, let's all, including myself, change our way of thinking and start sending them love letters of compassion and understanding instead. Thank y'all all for tuning in. I love y'all. I am Stitches MBC, nothing but classics music con
Armando de la Cruz.
Armando de la Cruz. Oigan eso. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all. If y'all like the video, y'all can share it if y'all want. I'm trying to do things different. I ain't trying to follow no blueprint, nobody else's path. Y'all share it if y'all want. Y'all tag if y'all want to do it. Do what y'all want to do. That's what I preach. Be yourself. Life is balanced. And God bless you.